Okay, so in today's video I'm going to show you how I made this little sour cream coin purse. It's really easy to make and you just make it from scraps of fabric. So I thought I'd show you today how I did it, and I'm going to use a different fabric which I'll show you in a few minutes, and I'll tell you all the sizes that you need. Okay, so the supplies that you need for your main fabric, you need 4 pieces that are 1.5 inches wide by 9 inches long. Now on this one I used 4 different fabrics that were 1.5 by 9, but on this one I'm going to just use 2 fabrics, so I'm going to use a pattern and a plain twice. So I've got 4 pieces at 1.5 by 9. That's your main fabric. For your lining you need a piece of fabric that's 8.5 by 4.5, and you need a piece of thin wadding or batting, fusible or not. This is 9 by 4.5. You need a piece of ribbon that measures about 2 inches, and you need a zip that's about 5, but I use continuous zip, so I've just cut a bit that's a lot bigger, and then I can keep the slider out of the way. So they're all the things that you'll need. So you can easily make this from scraps. I always press my fabric first before I start sewing it, so I'm just going to press it, and then I'm going to start sewing these 4 strips right sides together. So your design needs to be sewn together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So your 4 strips that are 1.5 by 9 inches need to be sewn together with that seam allowance. Now there's varying ways of doing it. You may have a 1/4 inch foot that you can put on your machine. You may have a mark on your sewing machine bed over here that you can use. On my machine I have a 1/4 inch stitch, so I'm going to go into this arrow down here and I'm going to scroll through until it tells me that I'm in the quilting section. Okay, so I'm in the piecing section. Now the number 2 option is 1/4 inch, so I'm going to select that, and down here it tells me which foot I need to use. It's my O foot, and that's what I've got here on the bed. So I'm going to put that on and then we'll start sewing. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces right side together and I've got it lined up against the guide on my 1/4 inch foot, and I'm just going to sew. And I'm going to do that with both pieces. So just to save a bit of time on the video, I've actually pressed them. So all that I've done so far is sew 1/4 inch seam on both, open them up and press them both seams on the back flat. Now I'm going to put these 2 right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam to sew these 2 pieces together. Okay, so that's our 4 strips. I'm just going to press this seam open and then we're going to get to the batting and the quilting. So I'm going to hit the home button on my machine and that just takes me back to regular sewing. I've put my regular sewing foot on, and now we're going to sew this top section and the batting together, and I'm just going to sew a straight line about 2 or 3/8 away from each of these seams, and that's just to anchor the top layer and the batting together. And the way I'm going to do it on my machine is I'm going to line up, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see this, but my open toe foot here has got a gap in the middle, and where the edge of this is, I'm lining that up with the seam, and I'm just going to move the needle position over on my machine. Now you can just position this however you do it on your machine. This isn't vital, it's just a case of anchoring your top layer and your batting together, or your wadding. You could use a longer stitch, you could use a decorative stitch, it's entirely up to you. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Now, what I'm going to do is, don't know if you can see, the wadding does tend to shift when you're sewing it. So I'm just going to tidy up this edge and this edge here, and then you're going to cut this piece in half. So you're going to cut it at 4.5 inches. So I've cut it in half now, and then all we're going to do is turn 1/2 around. So one set of fabric goes horizontal and the other set goes vertical, and then we're going to sew those two together now with a 1/4 inch seam down there. Okay, so this is where we're up to so far. I've sewn the two pieces together, and again I've opened out the seam and pressed it just to try and reduce some bulk really. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our zipper and place the zipper face down, right sides together, and then take the lining and place that on top. So that's right sides together with the main fabric. So you've got your main fabric face up, your zipper right side down, so they're effectively two right sides together, and then this on top, so you're making a sandwich. And then we're going to sew down here with the zipper foot. Now again, on my machine I have a zipper option, and to get to the zipper option I click this icon here that looks like a little t-shirt, and then this bottom left hand is zipper, and I choose lapped zipper, and then I can alter the position of the needle depending on what side I'm sewing. So I'm going to make sure everything's all lined up. I'm going to position the inside of my zipper foot so it's where the channel of along where the teeth are, and I need to move the needle so it's in this position, and then I'm just going to sew straight down. And when I take that out and turn it all over, everything's right way round. So that's the inside of my lining, that's the top of my fabric and my zip. Now you could top stitch this if you want to, and I actually did on this one. But on this one, I think I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to give it a press, and then I'll show you how to sew the other side. So what we're going to do now, we're going to open out the fabric. So what you want is your top fabric facing up, your lining facing up, and your zipper so that you can see the right side. You're going to bring this side of your patchwork over to the edge of your zip, and while you're holding that, you're going to bring this side up and line that up to the edge, and you're going to sew this down either on this side or this side. And by doing that, hopefully when we turn it the right side out, we shouldn't have any raw edges. Okay, so this is where we're up to so far. I've turned it right side out just so you can see it, and I've positioned the zip down the middle. Now the zip's open, as you can see at the moment, so when I close it, the pull's going to be at this end, and this is where you need to put this piece of ribbon. So this little piece of ribbon needs tacking on here very close to the edge on the right side. So I'm going to do that first. Once I've done that, I'm going to pull the zip open a little bit, but still leave it free of this bottom edge, because I'm going to have to turn it inside out, cut away this excess zip, and then overlock that edge first. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I've turned it back wrong side out and I've overlocked across there. Then now you can see I've basted my little marker in there. This now is going to go this way, like so. Make sure everything's in there, and then I'm going to sew or overlock right along here. But you need to make sure that your zip is open, or else you'll never be able to turn it the right way out. So I'm going to line everything up and overlock along here. We're looking so far, bottom edge straight across, top edge pinched together, zip open. Just going to try and open it a little bit more, and we need to try and turn it all inside out now and push out all your corners. And because it's patchwork, we've got quite a bit of bulk, but it is possible. See if I can get something to poke out these corners without coming all the way through the bag. Fasten the zip up. And there it is. So that's one, and that's the other. So I hope you found that helpful. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.